Welcome back. Today we have an elite video for you guys. Me and Tony on the couch. We have 15 locking stains. Season-long props, the final video. We've done a ton of these. We've done a lot of these so far throughout the season. If you got the value when you did, if not, we have more for you today. We have 15 plays that we love that you can mix and match in your slips, high as low as all over the place. But we have a lot to go over today, and let's hop straight into it. This has been a highly anticipated one, if some were saying.
Has it?
Some are saying people might be asking for some season-long final props. The season's just around the corner, so we got to take advantage now while we can. We're going to start it out with the main man, the Triple Crown winner in 2021, Cooper Kupp, to go higher than 6.5 receiving touchdowns. Now, he led the team last year in only 10 games. He had 19 red zone targets. So, and that was one that was higher than even Puka he had. In 10 games. He had 5 in 10 games as well. Also, Puka's right now dealing with a knee injury. We don't know the timetable exactly for that. We're expecting him to be fine by week 1, but say he misses 1 or 2 weeks, this line even probably goes higher, and Cooper Kupp, this value feels absolutely insane. He's also playing in the slot, which automatically in the McVay offense especially, keeps him closer to Matt Stafford, easier to get those red zone targets. Should be an easy line for him to hit if he plays all of his games, obviously barring his health, but I don't think that's going to be a problem this year. He looks really good right now in camp. Everything's a positive report on his health so far. So again, I'm not baking in injuries into these equations. So I'm thinking Cooper Kupp to get 7 tugs feels pretty light this year.
I like it a lot. I'm all in on this Rams offense. I think they have the capability of being, I would say, top 5. I would actually put them top 5 right now.
Top 5,
as long as everyone stays healthy. Cooper Kupp, still him.
Yeah,
I'm still believing it's him. It feels like people wanted to pass the torch to Puka, and I love Puka, and I would say he is just as productive and good as Cooper Kupp and has that chemistry with Stafford, but I'm not writing off Kupp as someone who has regressed talent-wise, and it kind of feels like people are starting to push him over that edge, you know? So
yeah.
I took him over yards rather than touchdowns because I just feel like that's what he's good for. Eating up those yards.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to do well in both. I have his hires on both, so I completely understand with that. I think as long as Stafford's there, Kupp is always going to be a play. I don't think he's just going to fall off magically with Stafford absolutely loving to pepper targets to him. I understand the Puka's now there and everything, but I think Cooper Kupp still can absolutely eat even with Puka there.
Yeah, I mean, this defense is also projected to be one of the worst in the NFL.
A lot of scoring opportunities.
Exactly. I think they'll be better than what we expect, but overall, still bad defense. Probably going to be in a ton of shootouts, huge over team, and they'll get it done with McVay and Stafford and Kupp. So love it.
Who better to go to in the red zone than your right-hand man? Moving on, we're going to a quarterback, a young guy. Hasn't played a lot of snaps, but I love the play. Anthony Richardson higher than 7.5 rushing touchdowns. Again, small sample size last year, 3.5 games. In those 3.5 games, he had 4 rushing touchdowns on only 25 carries. Now, again, he's a 250-pound, 6'5" quarterback. He's
huge.
A large dude.
That's huge. That's bigger than Cam Newton.
So you're putting him at the goal line in the Shane Steichen offense. I think it's either going to be him or JT to get it every single time. As we saw, even with Jalen Hurts, who had solid running back with Miles Sanders at the time, still hit way over this line, getting 10 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. And I think Anthony Richardson could do the same. Last year, he was on pace on 4 games to have over 16, and I think he can do something similar to that. Getting him at only 7.5 feels fantastic. This, combined with his lower on pass and touchdowns, I feel like is a pretty good play. Either one of them, and I understand the JT factor. Everyone's like, oh, JT's there. If anything, I think JT helps him to get over this line with read option plays, power option plays. Shane Steichen get really creative on the goal line with both of these guys. I think they both have huge touchdown upside. This is one of the fastest pace, if not the fastest pace offense in the entire league last year when AR is on the field. They're going to be explosive, and this might be one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I think Anthony Richardson might actually be just as much as their goal line back as Jonathan Taylor. Speaking about his size, we've actually never seen a quarterback this big before.
No, like he's
bigger than Big Ben.
Yeah, he's
bigger than Cam Newton.
Massive.
He moves almost better than anyone we've seen.
4.4 speed, dude. He's like, it's insane. He's a freak of nature.
It is a freak of nature. He's like the size of Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah,
with an arm.
It's fucking nuts.
You know, it's going to be a cheat code in the goal line when you get A-Rich and JT down there. So
yeah,
I like it.
100%. We'll keep it pushing though. We have a lot of plays to go through. You want to do with your Number one
Yeah,
play?
you know, this isn't necessarily my number one, but I do like it a lot. And since we're talking about the Colts, I'm going to go with Michael Pittman to have more than 1,050 receiving yards. This is a guy who's coming off a season with Gardner Minshew, who already eclipsed that line. And we talk about Shane Steichen, fast-paced offense obviously helps him out. But when we go back to 2022, when Shane Steichen was with the Eagles, he had A.J. Brown go for 1,500. He had Devonta Smith in the same season go for 1,200. So he's done this line. He's hit this line with receivers before. And there's that worry that, you know, this Colts team is not going to be very pass happy. Well, that Eagles team wasn't either. They were ranked 29th in pass percentages. So they don't have to throw the ball a lot. Shane Steichen is just efficient in this offense when he does throw the ball. I think a rich arm, you know, I know there's some question marks about it, but I think it's very much capable of getting the job done here. And Pittman did it with Carson Wentz. He did it with Gardner Minshew.
And even say AR goes down, he's Joe Flacco now.
I was going to say, Joe, I didn't really want to bring it up because I'm like, I don't know if we can really count on the magic of Joe Flacco,
play.
But like, dude, that's what I'm saying. Amari Cooper would go for 2,000 through the air with Joe Flacco.
He was on pace for 5K, dude. It
was insane.
Absolutely nuts. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Pittman, I also just think by himself is a really good receiver. I don't know the exact numbers, but I feel like he grades out well on Matt Harmon's reception perception. And he's also a guy who I think can be I think there's stuff left on the table with Michael Pittman. He's not a dude that gets used downfield much, and I don't know if that's going to change, but I kind of like that if that does get added into his game more, that could just help out his yardage total. And my point is that Michael Pittman is still the alpha there. He's
100%,
still the one.
100%.
I think he's going to dominate a lot of the targets. And I kind of feel like we're maybe a little tired of Michael Pittman.
He's just like a Mike Evans where it's like, he's not going to do it again. And then he just does it again.
Yeah, and we were like projecting this big breakout when like Matt Ryan came over because it was like, oh, look at what Matt Ryan did with like Julio and Roddy and Calvin Ridley. And then that didn't work out. And it's like, wait. Now he got Carson Wentz and Frank Reich. Remember the magic they made in Philly?
Oh, yeah.
And then that didn't work out. And so I think we're kind of like done being like, okay, Michael Pittman breakout is really here. But I think objectively, this is like the best situation that Michael Pittman has been in his career, and it's
100%.
It's a number he's already hit before. So
I think he's just gonna end up being like a Mike Evans every year, where you put his line at 1,000, you hammer the over, and he's just gonna fucking do it.
Yeah,
and like he's just gonna get it done.
We're gonna get bored of it for sure. Might already be here, but I like it.
Yeah, this next play you're not gonna like so much. You don't love him, but I do. Trevor Lawrence higher than 4K passing yards, 3,999. 0.5 if we're being exact. Now again,
that feels high.
It feels high, but he hit this even last year. Banged up. He only played 16 games. In 3 of his last 4 games, he was really banged up. So playing despite injury, he was missing Christian Kirk for a lot of the year. 6th highest drop rate over the past 3 seasons. Along with that, he had the highest EPA loss last season in drop passes. There's a lot of room to be better, and he still hit this line last season. So I understand the hate, whatever, but he also got a true X receiver this year in BTJ, which I think is going to be massive. Gabe Davis comes along, who's a field stretcher, could really help out getting those long balls. I think this offense can do really well. He obviously still has Evan Ingram. ETN can catch out of the backfield. I think this offense is going to move. I don't see really any reasons why he would regress after having all of the variables he had last year, and he still hit over this. I think he can easily do it again. This line feels insane to me. I think this is going to be closer to his sophomore season than it was last year, and he absolutely crushed this line then. I love this spot. I really like it. I think BTJ has a lot of upside. I think getting rid of Ridley, who was the leader in drops, only can help him going forward as well. Kirk's going to be healthy, hopefully, for the whole year. I think that's massive. We love Christian Kirk. Very underrated.
Yeah, I mean, you do make good points. I think what deters me from this line is that it's more than Jordan Love's. It's like the same as guys like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same as like Kirk Cousins and like Jared Goff, who just
roughly
kind of feel like in a different tier than Lawrence to me in terms of like just overall production. But like I said, you bring up good points. And to go off that, you said we love Christian Kirk.
Love Christian Kirk. What's Christian Kirk going to do?
Christian Kirk is for sure going over 925.5. That's what I got him down as. He was cooking last year with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you brought up all the stats. He was on pace to do it last year. I think Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence, they're just peanut butter and jelly. They go well together.
They're butter and Sammys.
They're butter and bread.
They're butter and bread.
Butter and toast.
Oh yeah, they're butter Sammys.
Yeah.
Going together. No, I really like the play. I think Kirk this year, if he gets a full healthy season, now is the bona fide one in this offense. Now with Ridley officially gone. Bringing in, I mean, BTJ is a young guy, not going to overtake him. Gabe Davis certainly fucking ain't overtaking him. Evan Ingram's going to be a target hog, but I don't think he's going to really affect his yards mark by any means.
I mean, in Evan Ingram's targets, he only really became a target hog when there were targets to go around after Christian Kirk
100%.
went down. So I kind of think Evan Ingram's target share is probably going to decrease when Kirk comes back. And I don't know. It kind of feels like Kirk's the only guy that Trevor Lawrence actually trusts. I mean, obviously he hasn't played with like BTJ and Gabe Davis and things like that, but
going to the reliable veteran is never a bad play. Pairing him in a correlation play, I also love. All right, we have a lot of plays down right now. Let's keep it pushing. DK Metcalf, I think, is due for a big season this year as well. We're keeping the higher train going. Why not? We'll hit some lowers later on. Don't you worry.
No one's getting hurt this season.
No one's getting hurt this season. We have 1,025 yards. It feels insanely low to me. Ryan Grubb comes over in this offense. Now, again, he was with Washington, but in Washington 2 seasons in a row, led Washington to be the highest passer rate team, highest passing yard per game team, 369 yards per game. Obviously, that's not going to be that high in the NFL, but the scheme clearly has an alpha wide receiver. Over the past 3 seasons, Ryan Grubb has had a clear number one. Obviously, last year, Rome Odunze getting 1,500 yards. I think DK is going to be easily in that role. Tyler Lockett, obviously getting on the older end of things, has never really been that alpha, and DK kind of has taken the reins of this as he went over this last season in an underwhelming season, as we all thought. Only 66 receptions, but still racked up 1,100 yards. Now, with Ryan Grubb coming, it's going to be a quicker game scheme. They're going to have a very fast-paced offense, a lot of no huddle. I think this is going to be a place where Geno can really thrive as he's more of a game-managing quarterback. He's going to check down to DK. DK is going to see a lot of play. Big season for DK loading. I'm fully invested in this offense. They might be like my favorite bandwagon team to hop on.
Love the Seahawks.
Seahawks this year. DK's line just feels way too low for this offense, only getting upgrades. And his line is set at 100 yards less than what he got last year.
I feel like the Seahawks for me is like everything on paper should works. Like I see the path of them being very successful, but for me, I still kind of want to see it with Geno. Like
I know you're a Geno disbeliever.
I'm not like fully bought into like Geno just totally resurrected his career. I know he had a good season 2 years ago, and I know a lot of things didn't go right for him last year, but I don't know if I really want to hitch my wagon to Geno. But DK, great receiver.
But like think about it, Geno had a pretty bad season last year. And DK still went over. And now, if anything, Sam Howell comes in, you have another gunslinger right behind him who's just going to huck yards. Like, I think DK is pretty much like, he's going to be the focal point. Like, I don't see JSN taking over yet. I don't see Tyler Lockett taking really much of his role yet. I think DK is kind of one of those guys where I feel like he's going to be quarterback proof as long as they're slinging the rock, which if Ryan Grubb's the OC, they're going to be slinging the rock.
It's a good point. Good point.
So, I don't know. I love it. I'm bought in the Seahawks offense. This is the only play I have from the Seahawks, though. But, yeah, love DK here. Love DK here. Second play, you like it? Tank Dell, 4.5 receiving tugs.
I do.
Only played 10.5 games last year, left early. Had 7 touchdowns in those games. Now, no one is right now taking his spot. I get Stephon Diggs was added, but he has a special role in this offense. If you go back and watch the tape of Bobby Slowick, where he is used as the field stretcher. He's used to put safeties in binds. Combine that with Schultz, who will also come across the field. You put Tank Dell going across the field. It's just it's tough to beat with Nico underneath. Now you have Stephon Diggs. It's going to be a headache for defenses to cover. I think all 3 of these receivers, let alone, will probably go over this mark. I think CJ's due for a big year as long as he stays healthy. Everyone is fine. I think this easily is going to be a line where he can hit. Again, only 10.5 games. He had 7 last year. Already in preseason, he already has a touchdown. Looking like the connection is still there. I feel like by the end of the season, we're going to look back at even ADPs and be like, damn, Tank was number 3.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, I think Tank's amazing. It's just going to come down to the question of opportunity, but I think C.J. Stroud is going to have enough in his bag to dish it out to all 3 receivers and then some.
I also think Tank, again, like I said with the role earlier, like Stephon Diggs has his role. He's also getting older. He's more of a route specialist. Nico has been an underneath guy, middle of the field, dig routes, all that sort of stuff guy, where Tank's the one that's going to take the top off of this, and CJ's got the fucking cannon to do it. We saw it all last year. He had multiple 30-plus yard touchdowns. I think that's easily in his bag again this year. It's going to be an explosive offense. Safeties are going to have to play deep if they want to beat this team. I love this spot.
And going off of that, I'll ride that and take C.J. Stroud to have over 4,200 passing yards next season.
It's gone up even. If you saw one of our videos earlier this season, you could have got him at 4K flat. But continue.
He was at 4K
He was at 4K. It was 4K, 4.1, and now it's all the way up to 4.2.
I still think it's kind of low, dude. I'm bought. I have talked myself into the fact that C.J. Stroud is going to join the 5K club this year.
Listen, I don't hate it.
I think he can do it. Look, I think we can. I think our priors to the Texans going into 2023 were so low on them.
Yeah.
And they exceeded expectations by so much that we just assume everything went right for the Texans. I think there's actually a lot of room to improve with this Texans team. And I think people are looking at this Texans team being like, is it a fluke? Is this for real? And I think calling it a fluke is it's definitely not that. And I think there's a lot of room for improvement. You look at their O-line, their entire O-line was decimated last year. They lost their starting center, their backup center. They lost a guard, a tackle.
CJ went down himself for a game.
CJ went down for 2 games. So he threw 4,100 yards in a rookie season in 15 games. He lost Tank Dell, like you said, halfway through the year. Now he's adding Stephon Diggs. Not only that, but you bring back Bobby Slowick, who, didn't take a coaching job elsewhere. There's a lot of continuity with the team. And they were 11th in terms of pass rate, but they led the league in the sequence of run, pass. And they weren't a very efficient running team either. So they were put into a lot of disadvantageous spots. I think with Joe Mixon coming in, a more healthy O-line, they'll be able to run the ball better. Just overall, this offense is going to be a better, well-oiled machine than last year. And I think, a lot of people might hear that and be like, well, they were already so good last year. I think there's room to improve, and that's kind of why I think CJ could have a crazy sophomore year. We saw Patty Mahomes throw 5K his sophomore year. Justin Herbert threw 5K his sophomore year.
Yeah.
A lot of guys take 5K. That second-year step up. I think C.J. Stroud's got that in his bag.
Bryce Young about to do it. All right.
Bryce Young about to take the step up to 3K.
Facts. Xavier Worthy is my next play I have. We're taking the Loa. Nick's already maxed out on Xavier Worthy Loas. I'm damn near there. The whole office pretty much is out on Worthy. I'm still out on Worthy. A lot of people are now on Worthy because of the Marquise Brown injury. I was
going to say it's tough timing.
But it's tough timing, but I honestly am not worried about it. The main stat that I harp on and that I'd love to bring up when people argue me this is there's been 6 wide receivers since 2018 when Patrick Mahomes took over that have gone over this 750 mark. 4 of them were Tyreek Hill. Again, this is just wide receiver, so Travis Kelce doesn't count. 4 of them were Tyreek Hill. The other 2 were Juju and Rashi. Both were the wide receiver 1s in this Kansas City offense. Xavier Worthy is not going to be the wide receiver 1. Sorry to break your news. Because Rashi is still there. Rashi has not had any legal problems yet. There's been no lawsuit, court dates, no suspensions, no nothing. Rashi is going to be playing this season, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with what happened or not. It looks like he's going to be playing. Not only that, but Marquise Brown is only going to probably miss roughly max about like 6 weeks. And that's not into the season. That's 6 weeks from yesterday. So that will be now, if we count in season, he'll miss probably about 3-4 games at the absolute most. And if we're counting that in, their first part of their schedule isn't easy. So they're playing Baltimore. It's not like I don't think Xavier Worthy is going to have a massive game against Baltimore. Along with that, Tyreek Hill had the same exact injury. And I would say similar builds. Tyreek Hill only missed 4 weeks. So if Marquise Brown comes back even earlier, miss only 1 week, miss only 2 weeks, then we're baking in something that really was completely irrelevant. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm taking the Xavier Worthy lower every single time. Maybe in the future, sure, he can turn into something. But as mainly just a field stretcher, I think he's going to fall in the Rashid Shaheed kind of pipeline.
Yeah.
Where he'll have a few games where he catches a bomb 80-yard touchdown. He'll have 2 big bombs, 200-yard game, whatever. But it's not going to be consistent at all. It's going to be a guy where we look to as kind of that flyer later round. Him going in like the fucking 6th round in fantasy feels absolutely insane.
Yeah, it does.
But again, it's the rookie hype. It's the 4-2-1 hype. So people are buying into it. I'm not going to. Taking the Loa all day.
I've officially put Rashee Rice back on my draft board.
Yeah, no, I have too.
I think it was like yesterday or maybe the day before I woke up, and I'm just like, I'm good drafting Rashee Rice now.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing really said recently either about it. So until we see something, like Jordan Addison has a court date before Rashee Rice does.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane in itself, but that's just the facts. And even then, like we saw with Kamara, like court dates could get pushed back. Like Rashee right now, there's no timeline on him getting suspended. There's no timeline on anything happening. So you just got to kind of count in that he's going to be the wide receiver 1, and he's going to be the same guy that he was last season, where they're going to count on him in big moments. I don't think Xavier Worthy's going to be that guy, sadly.
Yeah.
Gonna have to stink the lower. Don't think he's on the Tyreek Hill level. Obviously, Juju's name being in that crowd doesn't really help my case much. But
this next one,
this next one, we all of us, I've maxed this out.
Oh, really?
Ezekiel Elliott, high and 5.5, has been in like damn near every slip.
And he looked.
If you saw him yesterday in preseason, like he didn't play, but if you saw him like he looks great.
Does he?
And I'm not just saying that to like glaze, but like he looks thin. He looks like old Zeke damn near.
That's crazy because I feel like a lot of Twitter clips that I've been seeing.
Yeah, dude.
It looks like he's moving like an old man in the Twitter clips that I've been seeing, but I don't care. Like I'm still riding him just because I don't think they have anybody else.
No, I think it's also because in practice he wears like doubled sweatshirts, fucking sweatpants. It never looks hot when it's coming from Zeke in practice. But yesterday, in game, in a uniform, he looked fucking good. So I'm back in.
He was honestly like good last year.
He wasn't bad. He just was in the Patriots offense, which was horrific. He still had 3 rushing touchdowns last year in that Patriots offense, which was horrible. And there's no real competition. I mean, Rico Dow is probably going to be the biggest one.
But like just not.
Rico's probably going to be the third down back realistically. Yeah. And Zeke's going to be the guy that's going to take it from red zone in 2022. He still shared touches with Tony Pollard, had 12 touchdowns that season with the Cowboys. He's never missed this line. And again, he's going to have that probably Gus Edwards-esque role where he just racks up touchdowns as this offense is projected to be top 8 in the league once again, which leads to easy red zone, easy 10 zone opportunities. The opportunities are going to be there, which is what we love to bet on. And 5.5 is just low for a Cowboys offense that is going to need something out of the run game.
Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head, did Tony Pollard hit this line last year?
I think he had 6. I can double check. I think
either way, he was not an efficient running back either.
No, bad.
And after their bye week, they really pivoted off of him. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of scenarios.
6.
Yeah, right. I think there's a lot of scenarios where Zeke hits this, even if he's not very efficient, even if he doesn't,
and I don't think
break off long runs for a touchdown.
I don't think Tony Pollard was really looked at last year as a power back. Like Zeke is a big fucking back.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Like he's got that old man strength to him now.
Yeah. He got the dad strength now.
Yeah.
he just going to power his way through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody in the office is on this play. Love this play. This one has been like my lock in this offense. As long as nothing happens to the Cowboys health-wise, this should be a solid play. And their O-line is damn near back. They should be in a good spot. It's the one position that they actually kept pretty straight this offseason. Moving on. You might hate it.
Well, do we want to? I got more hires if we want to stick with that.
We'll go highs. We'll finish out with some highs.
We'll stick with the high note here. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen to have over 3,800 passing yards. Now,
J-Mo would love that.
J-Mo
would love that.
Yeah.
J-Mo win on Allen over 380. Yeah, he's in.
Was that a sarcastic for sure?
Josh Allen 3,800 over. Yeah, J-Mo's in.
Yeah, I'm all in on it too. I'm pulling up his stat line right now, but if I'm not mistaken, he has not missed this since 2020. He's actually smoked this fucking line.
Yeah, he
about 4,300 is the lowest he's been, and I know obviously the big narrative is no more Stephon Diggs, but I kind of feel like we're putting too much stock into that. I feel like the pendulum has swung too far in the direction of like this Bills offense is toast without Stephon Diggs, and I don't know. I don't think it's as big of a drop off as people think. I think. With Joe Brady there, this offense is going to run more traditionally and less put everything on the back of Josh Allen. And I think a lot of it is just going to be taking what the defense gives them and making and just kind of just simplifying this offense. And, Curtis Samuel's not like anything spectacular, but I think he's like a reliable veteran. You bring in Keon Coleman, kind of a wild card, don't really know what to expect from him. But I think you have a group of guys there that can just get the job done.
A group of guys that just get
it
done.
Blue collar Dawson Knox lunch pail guys that are going to go there and catch balls and get the job done. We could see a big step up from Dalton Kincaid.
I also think he's in a similar situation, and Nick Wright brought this up on ESPN, and me and J-Mo have talked about this multiple times. It looks like Josh Allen's in for a year like Cam Newton was in 2015. No real receiving core. The number one receiver in Carolina there was Ted Ginn. Like, it wasn't hot.
He had Greg Olsen. Don't sleep on Greggy.
But Greg Olsen, you have a very similar, in Kincaid.
For sure.
And even he has Dawson Knox, who I get he's on the older side, but he's still a reliable catcher. He's going to be out there. You can give him a 10-yard dig route, and he'll be fine. So I think he's in a very similar situation to where Cam was in 2015. He's going to have a solid running back in James Cook, where he can rely on the run game at least a little bit.
Great pass catcher.
And, yeah,
I also
he can
think
catch the ball.
They kind of pivoted off of Stephon Diggs at some point in the middle of the season last year.
Yeah, he usually just uses decoy.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like we've already seen this Bills offense without Diggs for like maybe a quarter of a season, and it was still the Buffalo Bills. So
yeah, no, I like the play a lot.
Yeah, overall, I just think we're overreacting a little bit to no Stephon Diggs. I think
100%.
Josh Allen and to me, Josh Allen is in that category of great quarterbacks that can get the job done no matter the situation.
QB proof, some might be saying, or wide receiver proof. That's what I meant. All right, do you have another hire? Or are you done with hires?
I think I have. Do I have another hire I feel good about? No, I think those are my hires. I'm good.
All right, those are the hires we're sticking with. We have 2 lowers to end it off.
Let's throw some dudes in the dirt.
Let's throw some dudes in the dirt, but make sure you're throwing BDGE in as a promo code when you sign up on Underdog, because you'll get up to a free $250 deposit match bonus. Not only that, but you'll get a free square of Lamar Jackson higher than half a yard for week 1. So you'll be able to pair these slips with a free line, or if you want to wait for our week 1 plays and pair that, you get a free play literally just using our code BDGE when you deposit $10 or more, and we continue to cash out. Make sure you take advantage. Not only that, but you can now follow us on Pickett for all of the plays that we place. You can see all of our season longs, Nick's season longs, JMO's season longs, Tony's season longs, my season longs, all of the season longs, all of the plays we're placing every single day on Pickett. Track us. It is absolutely free to sign up using code BDGE. And yeah, you can be in a raffle to maybe win some merch as well. Big things coming. Big things coming. Some free merchant stains.
Huge bennies.
Gonna be some huge bennies going to be placed over there. So make sure you use code on Underdog and Pickett. With that being said, let's throw some guys in the dirt. Justin Jefferson, you're gonna hate to see it, but
yeah.
He's only done
Pickett
this.
Is you can fade us on things too, like this one.
Yeah. He's only hit this line one time in his entire career, and Kirk had a fucking fantastic year that year. I don't think getting downgraded to Darnold and JJ. I understand JJ looked good against the Raiders' third string in practice squad, but I'm not convinced yet. He also has an absolute hell schedule from week 1 to 8, where this Vikings team literally could win maybe 1 game. And I'm assuming, as of right now, according to all reports, Sammy Slings is going to be the one starting week 1. And I love Sam Darnold. He's a guy I want to succeed.
There's just no reason for that.
I don't think it's going to fucking work out well for him. He's playing a very, very hard schedule, weeks 1 through 8, where I don't even think Justin Jefferson might come away with more than 2 touchdowns in that entire span. So, with that being said, then they go on the bye. They have a little bit easier after the break. Probably JJ will come in then. Either way, this is a very, very high line where he would need to damn near set his reception touchdown record for his own personal goals there in this season, where now he is JJ and Darnold. I don't see it happening. I think Kirk is just a better quarterback at the time where he did hit this when he had 10. Yeah, this is just a very, very high line. I could see him getting up to 7 maybe, but he's a yards guy. He's always been a yards guy. And I think it's going to stay that way this year with this Vikings offense.
I mean, he had 5 last year in 10 games.
He did have 5 last year in 10 games. He also had Kirk Cousins for some of those games. And not only that, he had Nick Mullins, who fucking hucks the ball.
Bro, get out. You and Nick Mullins. Dude.
Nick Mullins threw for 600 yards in college and then came into the NFL and threw for 400, 300 with multiple different teams. Like JJ and Sam.
You're talking about in a single game?
Yes.
Yeah. He threw
he's a gunslinger.
He threw for 400 yards twice against the terrible Lions defense.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think JJ or Darnold are going to come out and just sling the rock like a Nick Mullins, where he was running backwards and threw it up on 3rd and 18 and just let JJ go get it.
Look,
I don't see either of them happening.
Maybe McCarthy or Darnold won't have the same volume as Nick Mullins had, but I promise you it's going to be better quarterback play than Nick Mullins.
I think it's going to be better quarterback play, but I still don't see that transitioning into a more efficiency for Justin Jefferson down the road. Like, I think, if anything, that helps out the run game for sure. It helps out the setting up the play actions for sure. I just don't. JJ's never been a touchdown guy. Even with Kirk Cousins, when he was playing at his absolute best, and we all were in on Kirk Cousins, he still only hit this 1 time. Like, you have to think about that as well. Like, are you going to take a Kirk Cousins best year, that's kind of like the line we're setting, and then just work down from Darnold and JJ? And it's a rookie JJ. Like, I understand JJ could be good in a few years. This could be like a dynamic duo for the future. But 9 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, 9 tugs is a lot of tugs, dude.
We're talking about arguably the best receiver.
I understand. He's always been a yards guy, and I'm not fading him at his yard line is still high.
This dude can accidentally find the end zone 3 times in one game. Like,
it hasn't happened recently, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
He's due for a 9-touchdown game.
He's due. If you want to take the due logic, take the over. If you want to take the numbers, take the lower. That's how it is with these. They're hard lowers, but this one is the easiest lower I've ever seen in my entire life. Zack Moss, 850.5 rushing yards. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what an underdog. Really?
Yeah.
He didn't even hit this last year, and I feel like that was his prime time to hit this line.
Yeah, I mean, JT played, like, most of the season, though.
No, he played into it, but I think in the Steichen offense, like, if you're going to have a time to do it, it would be then. He's going to have Chase Brown on his ass the entire year this year. Chase Brown, they're all saying, at least in camp, is splitting the touches with him with the ones. So if he's going to be splitting carries, Zack Moss has never really been an efficient runner. He's never been that great of a runner. He had a breakout for 3 games, 4 games last season where he looked elite. Sure, but I don't buy into that. 850 yards is a lot of yards, and he's just never simply been that. Not only that, but he only had 794. 794 last year after splitting with JT and getting most of the carries and getting all of weeks 1 through 4. It's
I actually kind of feel like 800 is a lot for him, considering that he was
800
kind of
is a lot
for most of it.
Yeah, like it's tough, and especially like Cincinnati now with a healthy Burrow, it's like I think they're just gonna sling the fucking rock.
I do think they'll be a very pass-happy team for sure.
And 800 fit, like this is pretty much is Zack Moss an 1,000-yard runner?
No, but he doesn't have to be a 1,000-yard runner.
It's damn close.
He
has to be 100 yards off.
870.
Yeah, but I just don't see it happening. Zack Moss is never a guy I'm really going to be willing to bet on. As if you watch the tape, he's not much of an efficient runner. He's not going to really find these sneaky holes. This zone scheme team really fit Mixon well just because he was downhill, going to truck a few guys for a few extra yards, could maybe break one. He's also not going to be the pass catcher in this offense, so he's going to be taken out on a lot of downs where he could have seen opportunity. I think Chase Brown, if anything, might take over this role by even week 10.
I do like Chase Brown a lot.
Chase Brown's a guy I'm bought in on.
But, they had Joe Mixon for a long time there, and obviously he was a dude who was touching the ball like 20 times a game. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see like how they split that up, and if it's the same rate that these running backs are touching. But
yeah,
I actually think the fact that Zack Moss got 800 yards last year is insane. Like that is way more than I thought he would have had.
No, yeah, like you have to remember his first 3 weeks, he was like the RB2 in fantasy because he had 130 yards, he had like 140 yards.
Right, but then he like didn't play that. He didn't play the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's not that he didn't play; he still saw touches, but he just was the number 2 back. He just was the like 1A.
Like how many? Do you know how many touches he was getting? Like
I can look
at the stretch.
I know he got hurt for a while too.
Because that honestly doesn't make me feel good. The fact that he got 800 last year. If you told me how many yards did Zack Moss get last year, I would have told you like 500.
Yeah, no, he wasn't high. Let's go to the game logs. Last season, he was seeing.
Okay,
he had Baltimore. He had 30 touches, 23.
Starting week 5, he was like 7, 18, 11, 7, 1, 8. So
he got hurt in the New England, I'm pretty sure. He didn't see anything. But yeah, he wasn't seeing a ton, but it's still Tennessee and Cincinnati at the end of the season had 19 and 13, averaging 2 yards a carry in those games.
He had 183 carries,
which is a hefty amount.
But do you think that's?
I think that will be
more.
Probably,
you think 100? You think he's gonna have less than 183 carries?
I think he'll be around the same mark, and will be in a worse O-line situation and a worse run scheme.
All right.
You have to remember also for 3 games last season, he had A-Rich to really take off a big load of the box. Like A-Rich like takes away 2 linebackers at a time. So it's a completely different scheme too. He's also not going to get games where he gets 30 carries, 25 carries. Like I see that being a Chase Brown split for sure.
Like he won't have the games of 30 carries, but he probably also won't have the games where he's getting 1 carry.
No.
Or 7 carries.
No, but I understand. At the end of last season, he also was averaging like 2 yards a carry. So he wasn't efficient with the touches he got. I just don't think Zack Moss is a good running back.
No. I would definitely go lower picking a side on this. For some reason, that's blowing my mind that he got 800 last year.
No, yeah, got to pull devil's advocate for show. But no, I love it. I'm in full confidence with this play. Nick also loves it. I know J-Mo's on it as well. So the boys are on it.
All right, all right.
But make sure you're on Underdog. Again, using code BDGE, you'll get $250 deposit match bonus. Plus, you'll also get Lamar Jackson half a yard. So
free
square. Why not get a free square? Follow us on Pickett as well. And if you guys like the video, then like the video.
Prove it.
Prove you like the video by clicking the like. Make sure you subscribe, all that sort of shit, because we're going to have plays literally all season long. multiple Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night previews. We're going to have college plays going on. I might have a little bit of college season long cooking up for you guys as well on Underdog. So make sure you stay tuned for that coming down the pipeline. And we're going to keep cooking with preseason plays right now. Just swept the past 2 days. Let's keep it rolling into week 2. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.